Often when I'm looking at a pose, the angle of the head is kind of a key. It gives me an idea of how the model herself is thinking about the pose, that she is like a nymph in the wood having been startled and now she sees something. So this kind of character of alertness and of turning to pay attention to something is very strong in this pose. And so I start with the angle of the head and the opposition of the chest going in the opposite direction. Um, but I'm also very interested in how much her right leg is holding the whole pose up and is very strong. So I made a series of curvy lines that kind of go over the top of the thigh. What I'm trying to suggest by doing that, or suggest to myself by doing that, that that leg is pushing back up against the hip and creating this strong force of support that's going on. Now, in drawing at this point, I'm um, using this very poetic kind of opposition of the hand, this uh, beautiful way that Madeline uses her hands um, to oppose um, the big movement of the arm. And at the end of the arm, you get this kind of lovely turn of the hand. Um, Here I'm making a sense of the leg operating. Back to the head to give it a little bit more form, and the shoulder. So all of these points, in a way, are oppositional points. I mean that those two shoulders are pushing back or pushing up against the whole other movement, and the roundness of the belly, in a way, describing what the hip is doing, or at least the base of the torso. So this is a drawing all about the large forms moving. This is such a beautiful pose, and it, to some degree, surprised me. And one of the things about drawing is that it shouldn't feel programmatic. It shouldn't feel as though, okay, I'm doing another drawing and I'm going to go through the same steps that I always go through. You should be alive to the opportunities that this particular pose gives you. What is it that this pose, unlike any other pose, uh, what intrigues you? What do you find really beautiful? And um, in this pose, because I uh, wasn't, I don't know if surprise is quite the word, but I was just so taken with how beautiful her face was in relationship to the hands, both the expressiveness of it and the sense of using space, of carving air in the way that this particular pose did. So here I am, perhaps I would have expected to spend more time on the body and showing the pressure points, but because I was, I wanted to use my reactions at this particular moment, I'm, uh, I'm drawing, I'm spending a lot of time on the head, and now I'm beginning to try to express in the drawing the lyricism that I feel in these hands, these beautiful hands. So I had intended to use all these exercises as big, somewhat broader, generalized drawings, but this pose was so beautiful in its specifics of the head to the hands that I decided to do it this way, to spend this time. And I guess my lesson here is this feeling that drawing is so open-ended, so much um, a thing of the artist being alive to the moment and not seeing drawing as a procedure that you follow time and time again. I sped up this next drawing just to give you a quick idea of something that, in fact, I was thinking about in a very quick way. In this pose, I had a very strong reaction, but instead of wanting to kind of slow down and get the nuance, it made me want to almost do a cartoon of the pose. It was all about stretching, and this I really liked the way his um, his head and his gaze related to the stretched out arm and hand. So I wanted to draw it almost crudely. I wanted to get it down fast. And the opportunity that I guess I'm trying to demonstrate here is that when you have a strong reaction, to the overall kind of character of a pose, and um, it just makes you want to attack it. Uh, this is what I guess I'm doing here, is that all of these strong, kind of stretched out lines made me want to really get it all down very, very fast and express this urgency, I guess you'd call it, in the way that I felt about the pose. So I'm not exactly scribbling, but damn close to it. The lesson in this drawing is about finding a theme for yourself in the pose. You look at the pose, and instead of immediately worrying, oh my God, this is a complicated pose, things are going all over the place, um, find uh, what is beautiful to you. And I would certainly, what I find very beautiful is how the body is using all this space. Where things touch the ground is terrifically interesting. That he has all of these points of contact to the ground. The other thing that is certainly a theme is um, how stretched out everything is. This is not a relaxed pose. This is a pose in which Brian is working very, very hard, particularly his back and the right leg, the leg that's in the foreground, are really taking a lot of pressure and taking the weight of the body. But that's what makes it beautiful. So that once you make a theme for yourself like that, then you begin to give yourself hierarchies. Okay, I'm going to deal with the back. I'm going to deal with these points of contact with the ground. And I'm going to make all my lines, as much as possible, filled with this stretching, hard-working tension of this pose. So that you, very early in the game, you give yourself um, a way to think so that you're not confused by just the problems of getting things in the right place. That you given your mind a way to sort things out. In this drawing, I kept thinking about the stretchiness, the strength in the leg, and how much the back was working.